The Krill hegemony considered itself the apex of biological artistry. For millennia, they had meticulously sculpted their own evolution, guiding their genome with unparalleled precision. Their worlds were paragons of symbiotic efficiency. Every plant, every microbe, every creature, including the krill themselves, perfectly optimized and integrated into a harmonious, predictable whole. They were tall, slender beings, their skin a shifting tapestry of bioluminescent patterns that communicated complex information, their movements fluid and deliberate. To the krill, the rest of the galaxy was a chaotic, untamed garden filled with species that stumbled through evolution by blind chance, none more so than humanity. Jorval, a senior biocrafter of the krill hegemony, presented his findings to the conclave of genetic primacy. Holograms flickered, displaying Earth's teeming, unruly biosphere. Observe, Jorval gestured with a six-fingered hand, his skin rippling with confident blues and greens. The dominant species, humans, frail endoskeletons, inefficient protein processing, susceptible to literally thousands of self-generated pathogens and countless environmental contaminants. Their primary planet is a miasma of competing, often hostile life forms. They rely on crude, externalized technology to overcome their inherent biological deficiencies. They are, by any logical metric, a failed evolutionary dead end. The conclave murmured agreement, their skin patterns shifting in synchronous accord. Humanity was a curiosity, perhaps, but certainly not a threat, nor a species worthy of serious galactic consideration. Earth was seen as a messy, primitive planet, its dominant species a testament to the universe's occasional, regrettable errors. Furthermore, Jorval continued, their recent colonial expansion to the planet designated Xylos presents an opportunity. Xylos possesses unique atmospheric conditions ideal for the cultivation of Kython silk, a vital hegemony resource. The human presence is nascent, their terraforming efforts rudimentary. We propose Operation Verdant Claim, a gentle, precise bioadjustment of Xylos. We will introduce tailored organisms that will re-engineer the ecosystem to our specifications. The human colonists, with their fragile biology, will naturally recede. Minimal force, maximum efficiency. It will be a demonstration of krill mastery, and the planet will be optimized. The conclave approved. Xylos was, after all, just a speck on the galactic map, its human inhabitants little more than biological noise. The krill fleet, vessels that resembled enormous, gracefully drifting seed pods, set course. The first sign of trouble for the colonists of Xylos was subtle. Native flora began to wither at an accelerated rate, replaced by a creeping, iridescent fungus that pulsed with a faint, alien light. Then, the air itself seemed to change, carrying new, faintly sweet scents that caused mild disorientation and headaches. Dr. Aris Thorne, head of Xylos' small xenobotany lab, was among the first to raise the alarm. The local ecosystem is collapsing, he reported to the colonial administration, his voice tight with concern. And these new organisms, they're not native. Their genetic structure is too perfect, too designed. I'm detecting complex viral and microbial agents piggybacking on them, agents that seem specifically engineered to target mammalian biology. The krill, disdaining crude kinetic weapons when elegant biological solutions were available, had begun their gentle readjustment. They released a series of precisely engineered pathogens. The first was an airborne virus designed to induce extreme lethargy and respiratory distress in humans. The second, a waterborne bacterium, targeted the human digestive system, causing rapid dehydration. A third, disseminated by the iridescent fungus, was a neurotoxin intended to create confusion and break down social cohesion. The krill expected the human colony to crumble within weeks, the survivors fleeing or succumbing quietly. On board the krill flagship, biocrafter Jorval monitored the data feeds from Xylos with satisfaction. Initial pathogen vectors established, he announced to his team. Human biological markers indicate systemic stress. Cascade failure of their inefficient systems is imminent. But cascade failure did not occur as predicted. The colonists on Xylos, numbering around 50,000, were not the pampered citizens of core worlds. They were pioneers, self-selected for resilience and adaptability. They were accustomed to hardship, to facing the unknown. And Earth, their chaotic homeworld, had inadvertently prepared them for this moment in ways the Krill could never have conceived. The lethargy virus spread, yes. People grew tired, coughed, and felt weak. But then something unexpected happened. Some individuals, a statistically significant percentage, simply got better. Quickly. Their immune systems, bombarded daily on Earth by a relentless soup of viruses, bacteria, allergens, and pollutants, were not the delicate, coddled systems the Krill assumed. They were battle-hardened, hyperreactive, and incredibly diverse. Anomaly detected, a Krill technician reported to Jorval, its skin patterns flickering with a touch of amber uncertainty. A subset of the human subjects on Xylos is exhibiting rapid immunological response. Antibody production is unexpectedly vigorous. Jorval frowned, a subtle tightening around his primary sensor organs. Their systems are primitive. They will be overwhelmed by the next wave. The digestive bacterium hit next. Many colonists fell ill, suffering severe dehydration. Medical teams, led by Dr. Lena Hansen, worked tirelessly, repurposing hydroponics equipment for IV fluid production. But again, the human response was baffling. Genetic diversity, a trait the Krill viewed as messy and uncontrolled, proved to be a powerful defense. Some colonists had natural gut flora that actively fought the Krill bacteria. Others possessed genes that allowed for surprisingly efficient water retention even under duress. People were sick, yes, horribly so, but far fewer were dying than the Krill models predicted. Dr. Thorne, meanwhile, wasn't just observing, he was fighting back. His small lab, never intended for biowarfare defense, became the colony's nerve center. Working with samples from recovering patients, he and his team began sequencing the Krill pathogens with astonishing speed. Their biology is elegant, I'll give them that, Aris muttered, hunched over a glowing console. But it's also monolithic. They're used to designing for a specific outcome against a known biological constant. They don't understand true chaotic adaptation. Earth's history was a history of plagues, of pandemics, of constant biological warfare waged at a microscopic level. Humanity hadn't mastered evolution like the Krill. They had survived it. They were the descendants of those who had weathered the Black Death, Spanish flu, and countless other invisible onslaughts. Their immune systems were not clean, well-ordered archives. They were cluttered, messy armories, filled with half-forgotten weapons and the ghosts of ancient enemies, ready to be repurposed. The Krill, observing from orbit, were perplexed. Their perfect pathogens were being met not with systemic collapse, but with a bewildering array of individual responses. It was like trying to fell a forest with a single, precisely aimed axe, only to find the forest was made of 1,000 different species of wood, some too hard, some too flexible, some that simply absorbed the blow. Then came the human counterattack, and it was not with guns or lasers. It was with something far more insidious to the Krill. Applied biology, learned in the crucible of Earth. Dr. Thorne's team, working with astonishing speed, managed to isolate a key protein in the iridescent krill fungus. They discovered it was hypersensitive to a specific spectrum of ultraviolet light, a spectrum easily generated by the colony's existing agricultural lamps. They retuned the lamps and bathed the encroaching fungal fields in the light. The fungus didn't just wither, it liquefied into a foul-smelling sludge, its carefully constructed cells rupturing. Simultaneously, Dr. Hansen's medical team, analyzing the krill's waterborne bacterium, found a peculiar weakness. It thrived in the slightly alkaline water preferred by krill physiology, but was aggressively outcompeted by a common, harmless earth gut bacterium if the pH was shifted even slightly towards acidity. The colonists began treating their water supplies with citric acid from their hydroponically grown fruits. The krill bacterium was starved out. Biocrafter Jorval, the same agitated technician reported, skin now a mottled orange of alarm. The human countermeasures are unexpectedly effective. They are deconstructing our bioagents at a molecular level. They are adapting their environment to be hostile to our engineered life forms. Jorval felt a flicker of something alien to his perfectly ordered mind. Doubt. Their science is rudimentary. How is this possible? It was possible because human science wasn't born in a sterile lab, aspiring to krill-like perfection. It was born from necessity, from digging in the dirt, from fighting infections, from a desperate, messy, trial-and-error struggle against a planet that seemed actively trying to kill them. Earth wasn't a gentle cradle. It was a high lethality training ground, a biological gauntlet. The myriad diseases the krill scoffed at were humanity's sparring partners. The true "oh shit" moment for the krill hegemony arrived when Dr. Thorne's team achieved their most audacious breakthrough. They didn't just neutralize the krill's airborne neurotoxin, they reverse-engineered it. And then they modified it. The original krill neurotoxin was designed to induce confusion in humans. The human-modified version, however, was tailored to krill physiology. It didn't cause confusion. Instead, it targeted the delicate bioluminescent cells in krill's skin, the very cells they used for complex communication and social cohesion. The modified toxin caused these cells to flare uncontrollably, then go dark, effectively blinding the krill to their own nuanced language, isolating them in a cacophony of meaningless light flashes followed by an unnerving sensory silence. The colonists, using modified crop duster drones, began to disseminate this modified agent into the upper atmosphere of Xylos, where the krill scout ships and atmospheric processors were operating. On board the krill flagship, the bridge suddenly erupted in a chaotic blaze of uncontrolled bioluminescence from the crew's own skin, followed by an eerie, patchy darkness. The precise, silent communication of the krill dissolved into panicked, uncoordinated gestures. Their skin, once a map of their thoughts and status, became a source of painful, disorienting noise. "Status report," Jorval shrieked, his own skin flickering erratically, the elegant patterns dissolving into a painful, uncontrolled strobe. He could barely understand the frantic, truncated vocalizations of his crew. The hegemony, so reliant on their biological perfection, had no contingency for their own bodies turning against them in such a fundamental way. The krill fleet, thrown into utter disarray, their command structure shattered by the inability to communicate effectively, their pilots visually impaired by their own malfunctioning bodies, made a panicked, disorganized retreat from Xylos. They left behind their dying fungi, their neutralized bacteria, and a human colony that was battered and bruised, but undeniably, miraculously, victorious. The news of the krill's humiliating rout at Xylos spread through the galaxy. The krill, masters of bioengineering, defeated by a failed evolutionary dead end, using their own weapons against them. The irony was not lost on anyone. The conclave of genetic primacy was in turmoil. Jorval, stripped of his rank, tried to explain. Their planet, it is not a flaw, it is a forge. Their constant exposure to biological stressors, their chaotic genetic diversity, it has made them horrifyingly resilient. They don't seek to perfect life. They seek to survive it no matter the cost, no matter the method. Earth is not a messy garden. It is a Pandora's box of adaptive horrors. Humanity's standing in the galaxy changed overnight. They were no longer the fragile newcomers. They were the children of a death world, their biology a testament to survival against all odds. Species that had once pitied their weaknesses now looked upon them with a mixture of awe and apprehension. Requests for human medical expertise, particularly in immunology and epidemiology, skyrocketed. Earth, once dismissed, was reclassified by the Galactic Concord. It was given a new designation, Hazard Class 10, Crucible World. A planet whose native apex species was so profoundly shaped by relentless biological adversity that they were, in essence, living weapons, capable of adapting to and overcoming almost any biological threat with terrifying speed and ingenuity. A new saying entered the galactic lexicon. Never start a biological war with a human. You're not fighting a species. You're fighting a planet's worth of evolutionary nightmares, and they learn very, very fast. The krill hegemony, humbled and reeling, learned this lesson the hard way. They had sought to optimize a world, and in doing so had awakened a power they could not comprehend, a power forged in the chaotic, beautiful, deadly embrace of Earth.